Hello everyone, I'm Jasper and this is JJ Vids. Welcome to the channel, and today we're going to be discussing the discontinued cars of the model year 2023. And we're going to be going over all the manufacturers, including Asian manufacturers to American to European automakers, and we're going to be breaking down all the model types, going from the cars that already have been discontinued for the model year 2023 to cars that will be discontinued later this year. Before we dive into the list, it is important to mention that there are a lot of different cars on this list, some cars being really cool, with other cars just not really being that cool. So I'm going to fly through some of these cars faster than others in this video, and with that being said, we're going to hop right on into the list. And we're going to take a look at the Asian auto manufacturers first. And the first brand we have on our list is Toyota. Toyota is going to be discontinuing two cars for the model year 23, the first of which is the Toyota Avalon. Toyota's been hinting that they are going to discontinue this model for a few years, and it's sad to see the Avalon go because the Avalon is the flagship model in terms of sedans for the Toyota brand, but the Avalon is really similar to the Camry and the Lexus ES, really being that car to be in between the two. And the Avalon is also based off of the Lexus ES platform, so those cars ride very similar to one another. So I can see why Toyota is cutting the Avalon to make more room for the Camry and to make room for the recently released Toyota Crown, which will be replacing the Toyota Avalon coming into production later in 2023. The next brand we have on our list is Lexus. Lexus is the luxury brand of Toyota, and this brand is going to be discontinuing one model for the 2023 year, and that's going to be the RXL, the long wheelbase edition. And Lexus recently released the next generation of the RX in North America, but they haven't released a long wheelbase version of the new generation RX yet. So the old generation RX long wheelbase version will be discontinued for the 23 model year. It just gives Lexus a little bit more room for their GX, LX, which already has third row seating, and they'll probably end up making a third row RX a couple years down the line. Those are all the discontinued models for Toyota and Lexus. Now we're going to move into Honda, which has one model they're discontinuing for 2023, and that is the Honda Insight. And they're discontinuing this model to make room for the newly coming next generation Honda Accord hybrid, as well as the next generation Honda CR-V hybrid. So they're getting rid of the Honda Insight for the model year 2023. The Honda Insight has been around since 1999, so the fact that they're killing it off now in 2023 makes this model over a 20-year run. So that's it, the Honda Insight is done for 2023. And then we have Acura, which has a couple notable discontinuations for 2023. The first one is the Acura ILX, which is essentially a luxury version of the Honda Civic. And my friend actually has an Acura ILX, and we drove this car to Vegas and back. And it's a nice driving car on the highway, but the issue really comes down to the back seat of that car because it's very crammed, very small, and I feel like Honda can do a lot better with packaging in terms of a car like that, which is why they got rid of the ILX and now they offer the new Acura Integra, which is essentially a hatchback version of that car, which is much more practical than the Acura ILX. It is worth mentioning that the ILX was a reliable and a sleek car on the outside. It just wasn't very practical on the inside. So Acura ILX done for the model year 2023. And then we have a really notable car that's being discontinued in 23, and that is the Acura NSX. And the NSX has been in production since 2016, and this has been a little bit of a controversial car in the automotive world because Acura brought this car back as a hybrid. And the NSX name is a legendary name off of two amazing cars from the 90s and the early 2000s, and Acura brought this badge back in a hybridized version of a car, which was definitely a controversial topic. But the Acura NSX was a very cool car with cool designs, and at the end of the Acura NSX's model run, they made a special Type S version, which has already ceased production, and the Acura NSX is now discontinued as of the model year 2023. Let's take a look at Nissan and Infiniti. And these two brands have a few cars that are being discontinued in 23. First off, taking a look at Nissan with the Nissan Maxima being discontinued for the model year 23. And this is a very similar discontinuation to the Toyota Avalon, being a very similar car to the Avalon, the flagship sedan of the brand. And the Maxima nameplate has been used on Nissans for over 30 years, so it's tough to see the Maxima name go for 23. Nissan has said they're making an electrified replacement for the Maxima, but we've yet to see anything yet, so we'll just have to see what Nissan does with that. And then the second car Nissan's discontinuing for 23 is the Rogue Sport. And I wasn't a big fan of this car, so we're going to fly right past this. The Rogue Sport, done for 23. And then we have Infiniti. And Infiniti is discontinuing one car, and that is the Q60. And this is kind of a disappointing one to see go, because the Q60 is a relatively new model, and I think the Q60 has a great design, and it's unfortunate to see it go for the model year 23. Infiniti says they're getting rid of the Q60 to pave way for more crossovers and SUVs in the future, but once the Q60 is discontinued, there is no other coupe to be offered through that brand. And if you want any similar car to what the Q60 offered, your only option now is to go with the Nissan Z, which is an extremely sought after car at the moment with extremely high dealership markup. So it's unfortunate to see the Q60 go, the last obtainable coupe as of right now for the Nissan Infiniti brand. Now we're going to take a look at the Korean manufacturer, Kia and Hyundai, which lay under the same umbrella of company. And the first car we need to go over is under the Kia brand, and this is a very notable one, you guys. And the Kia Stinger is one of the cars being discontinued for the 2023 model year. And when this car was released in America in 2018, it took the media by storm. Doug DeMuro owned one. There were countless great reviews done of this car, and the media raved on the Kia Stinger for years. But for the model 2023, Kia is doing one final tribute edition for this car, which is going to come in a satin gray paint color. And that's it for the Kia Stinger in North America. 2023, the car is getting discontinued. And then we have Hyundai, which has a few cars they're discontinuing. First of which is the Accent, that's being replaced by the Elantra Hybrid. Then we have the Hyundai Ioniq, which is being replaced by the Kona Electric. And then we have the Veloster N that's being discontinued for the 2023 model year. And the Veloster N is being discontinued to make way for new models coming in the future from Hyundai, like the Elantra N and the Kona N. And that's it for Hyundai and Kia in terms of cars getting discontinued for the model year 2023. Now, we're going to go into the American cars. And I'm going to run through a lot of these cars really fast because a lot of the 2023 discontinued models, at least of American cars, in my opinion, are trash cars. So to start off with, we need to look at General Motors. The Buick Encore is getting discontinued for 23, as well as the Chevy Spark and the Chevy Trax. Then for Ford, we got a few models being discontinued for 2023 as well, like the EcoSport. A little side story on the Ford EcoSport. A few years ago, I saw one of these cars when they were first coming out, and we were in very slow traffic, about 3 to 5 miles an hour, and the light in front of us turned red, and all the cars stopped, and this EcoSport did not see that light turn red, and he rear-ended the car in front of him, and from a 5 mile an hour impact, which should have been a fender bender, the entire front end was destroyed. The hood was destroyed, the core support. The car was a total loss from a 5 mile an hour crash. So yeah, I think the EcoSport being discontinued in 23 is not a bad discontinuation. We have two more Fords that have been discontinued in 23. The Ford Edge, which is a crossover SUV. And then we have a very notable discontinuation in 23, and that's the Ford GT. And the Ford GT was released in 2016 publicly and didn't go into production until 2017. But the Ford GT was a huge car for the Ford brand because this car was the first Ford ever made that was a race car turned into a road car instead of a road car being converted into a race car. And because of this, the Ford GT had radical design, radical driving style, and of course, radical performance. But unfortunately, 2023 is the final year for the Ford GT production, and it's a sad one to see go. Now we're going to take a look at FCA, or Fiat Chrysler Association, and this corporation is responsible for Dodge, Ram, and Jeep. And all three of these brands have one car being discontinued from each. First off is the Jeep Grand Cherokee WK. And this three-row Jeep has been in production for over 10 years now, and it's a pretty outdated model. There are a few notable things about this model, like the Jeep Trackhawk that was made from this platform, which was an absolute performance monster. But other than that, the Jeep Grand Cherokee WK is being discontinued for the model year 23, with the next generation Grand Cherokee already in production since last year. And then we have the Chrysler 300, which is another low-key car that maybe a lot of you don't know about. But the Chrysler 300 has also been in production for over a decade, and it hasn't really been that popular of a car in the past 5 years. So Chrysler is going to be discontinuing this car in 2023, but Chrysler is making a special edition before this car goes, and that's the Chrysler 300C with the 6.4 liter naturally aspirated V8. And that thing is going to be the performance-oriented version of the Chrysler 300, which we've never seen one of those in America. Australia got the Chrysler 300 SRT, but the Chrysler 300C is going to be the most performance-oriented Chrysler we're going to see here in America. And this is the last model year for that car, 2023, discontinued. And then we have the Ram 1500 Eco Diesel. And this truck has actually been around for about 8 years, but the reason they're discontinuing the Eco Diesel is because there's been a lot of recalls on idling issues for this truck. And it's kind of unfortunate to see this truck go because the 1500 Eco Diesel is a really efficient truck that can do a lot with getting pretty good gas mileage as well with that inline 6 diesel motor in it. But now that car is getting discontinued in 2023, so this is the last model year for that truck. So now I'm actually going to take a look at a segment of vehicles rather than a car brand for this next part of discontinued cars of 2023. And the type of car I'm going to be talking about is light-duty vans in the United States. Because about 6 years ago, there was a huge renaissance in the United States of these light-duty vans making a comeback. But in 2023, it seems that that is an end of an era, with 3 light-duty vans being discontinued for this model year. First of which is the Ford Transit, second of which is the Ram ProMaster, and the third is the Mercedes Metris. And the Mercedes Metris has been known on social media for being an absolutely terrible example of one of these smaller utility vans. So all 3 of those models are getting discontinued for the 23 model year. And this comes right after the Nissan NV200 was discontinued in 2021 and the Chevy City Express was discontinued in 2018. By the way, both of those cars being terrible cars. I've had experience with them in the past, and I would never have a day where those vans would not have a check engine light or an electrical issue. So it makes sense that these light-duty vans are leaving the United States market because it didn't seem like they were that great of vehicles after all. Now we're going to go into our final segment of the discontinued cars of 2023, and that is the European auto manufacturers. And we're going to begin with the brand Lotus, because Lotus is discontinuing their only model offered in the United States right now, and that's the Evora GT. And this car has been offered in America for a few years now, and it's honestly a fantastic car. It's really a driver's car, but it's unfortunate to see this car be discontinued in the United States as of 2023. Lotus does have the new Emira coming soon and a few other models they're working on, but that's it for the Lotus Evora GT as of 2023 in the United States. And then we have Mercedes-Benz, which is a very well-known brand, and they're getting rid of the A-Class for the model year 2023. The A-Class line is getting completely discontinued for 2023, and that's that. It's done. And then we have Volkswagen. Volkswagen has one car they're discontinuing. That's the Passat, whatever. And then we have the Italian brand Lamborghini. Lamborghini is discontinuing 2 cars for the model year 2023. The first of which is so notable. It's the Lamborghini Aventador. And the Aventador has been in production for over a decade now, doing wonders not only for the Lamborghini brand, but for social media as a whole. Because when the Aventador came out, that was the social media car. That was the car to have for your YouTube channel, for your social media presence. If you had an Aventador, you were getting views back in the day. And that's what the Aventador was for social media and for the world. And the most notable part about the Aventador being discontinued in 23 is that this is the end of the line for the naturally aspirated V12. Lamborghini has already announced the successor to the Aventador is going to be powered by a hybrid V12 powertrain. So the Aventador marks the end, and it's a huge blow for automotive culture, but it's the way of the world. It's the way of the future. This is the final year for the naturally aspirated Lamborghini Aventador. And then the final model we have on our list is the Lamborghini Countach, which is considered to be one of Lamborghini's Ultimate Series cars. And this car costs millions of dollars to buy and is produced in very small numbers. And Lamborghini produced a total of 112 Countaches in the model year 2022 and 2023. And the Countach is also going to be discontinued for 23, being a one-year model run only. And that's it. That completes our entire list of all the vehicles that are being discontinued for the 2023 model year, touching on all the manufacturers around the world. And if you like this type of content, please be sure to leave a comment on today's video so I know to make more videos like this, as well as like today's video and subscribe to the JJ Vids channel. And make sure you guys sign up for the $50 O'Reilly's gift card giveaway that I'm hosting for the Vids channel. All you have to do is look at the description below to get signed up for that. But with that being said, thank you all for watching today's video. I'll see you guys next video, and cheers.